Hello, welcome back to Photochemistry. Alright, last episode we completed Act 3 and we got up to a new act. So, I suppose that's what we're going to be doing today. Wow, the resolution is a lot worse than before. Never mind, no, it's fine. Makes sense. Right, so last time we met this new character who apparently we were made from, or their code was put into ourselves. So yeah. I'm not getting any more information out of this character though, so that's okay. Alright, the actual set of puzzles is this one. Catalyst. Catalyst. New... What happened to Act 3, by the way? What happened to Act 3? Act 3 isn't here. Interesting. Alright, Catalyst it is. Yeah, new mechanic possibly. Solve. Sprout. Sprout. Sprout particles will create a green particle when passing over an energizer. Always created in the direction the energizer is facing. Oh. Fancy. So that's a sprout. Yes, and sprouts need to create... So what happens if... I don't want it to have two lights shine on an energizer. I assume it just... I assume it has the same effect. Okay, but we want to create this, so we need... Or we just kind of need... You know. What do we need? We need to grow in 4 directions. Cool. So that's why we have 4 light beams for 4 energizers. Okay. So, let's try that. So you'll grow in this direction. This is where the green cell will be. Green cell. The green thing will be. By throwing it to this position, brown particle will be here, which will grow this way. Of course. Still gonna need this. Oh, oops. I guess I'll need more conveyors then. Okay, there you go. I mean, we can kind of just repeat this process, can't we? It's a lot of jumpers, that's fair. So maybe that will be a problem. Oh, you know what else is going to be a problem? Green turning to yellow. I think green will turn into yellow, won't it? Yeah, green turns into yellow. That's a problem because our output appears to be green. I think. I can't even tell. Okay, if that's the case, we are going to need... It makes more sense to make the vertical pieces here, isn't it? Oh, to put the vertical pieces here to grow left and right. Although I do agree that that would be a problem as well for the one growing towards the right. That one will definitely always turn into yellow unless the light comes from some other direction. Okay. I don't mind like just fixing it. But yeah, alright. So let's try making a vertical then. Let's try having it start off by going vertically. Oops, wrong item. Oh, but vertically doesn't work here for the same reason. It can't grow upwards. If it grew upwards, it would also become yellow, I think. Unless it gets thrown downwards before turning yellow. In which case it would be lucky, but... Yeah, it just becomes yellow directly. That makes sense. So we're gonna need a light to... I haven't tried having these two parallel lights work in opposing directions yet. It's like this, maybe. Like that. Well... Hmm. Yeah, but the problem with those lights is that those lights just greatly do not favor anything on the right side. Also, are these actually supposed to be yellow? I can't tell. Are these yellow? Are these green? I don't know. Like, I'm not even bothered to check anymore. If they're yellow, it might be a little better for us. I'm not entirely sure if it actually works out. But if anything, I'll just have to use some mirrors, I guess. Oh, but the mirrors don't work in the other direction. Wait, that's a problem then. Maybe it's not possible. Maybe it isn't possible to make this only green. Because the lights that come in one of the four directions, right? The last thing is always going to be a problem. The last green particle is always going to be a problem. Because for the last green particle to grow out, the light has to come from one of the four directions. And therefore one of these particles will always be yellow. So I think it's fair to assume that they want yellow in all four directions too. Which I think does complicate a few things. For instance, it's actually going to be pretty hard to make something going downwards. Although not impossible. But here going upwards into a direct yellow if fire works. Right? Similarly, facing something leftwards would also work well. For something going to the left. So I have this, for example. Followed by that. A turn yellow, a turn yellow. Oh. Oh, this has come from the right. Okay, so this one will have to go in the other direction. Okay. I have to go towards the light, I guess. That is the way we should be thinking about it. And then if I put a jump here, because the go happens like basically as at the moment it hits this, I'm pretty sure the jump will be later. Yeah, see, it works out. So jumper throws the particle here. You will go towards the light. And then I suppose here. I want you to go towards the light, so you're gonna have to point up, I think. So a downward works. Like that. Yeah. I feel like there's gonna be something wrong. Okay. I mean, I could use that to my favor by just shifting this over. Yeah, that looks right. Couldn't I just shift you this way then? Actually, it's gonna be a lot harder for me. You end up in this plus position. I have to shift you down by 1. And then over all the way to here. Did I reduce your input speed? How about 4? How about 2? I feel like 2 is gonna be a problem. 2 is definitely gonna be a problem. Look at this. These guys are barely touching. So actually, how bad is 2 going to be? Oh, yeah. Kinda expected that. It's okay. 4 works. Okay. They're coming out pretty quickly too. There you go. Pretty expensive. Yeah, I used a lot of jumpers. You didn't have to though, but I did. Alright. Oh, this Taliscat. It's on both ends of the spectrum. Or you have insanely low cost but at the same time, insanely low cost for what is this? Insanely low cost for high cycle count or insanely low cycle count for high. 16. 16. Wow, 16 is actually really impressive. For 5 products? Although to be fair, at a delay of 1 cycle, you only need you only need 5 cycles to create all the necessary inputs. Then you have to spend the remaining, I guess, 11 cycles sorting everything else out. It's entirely possible though. Interesting. Okay, transistor. These all look like computer terms now. Besides March Plus, everything else is a computer term. Maybe neuron is still slightly biological. But besides mulch, everything else seems to be a lot less organic, which is interesting. Digital. Alright, new stuff. Oh, that's what the... Is that what the... Ah, that makes a lot of sense that the elevator key was made of red then. Streams behave like light, but will always flow downwards. They can be directed side to side with reflectors, but will immediately return to flowing down immediately afterwards. Digital particles will dissolve when entering a stream. After dissolving, they will travel downstream until come into contact with another particle. Oh my. Dissolved digital particles will make a digital copy of whatever particle they bond to. There are 3 different sizes of a digital copy particles. Different sizes depending on what particle is copied. So these diamond shapes are small, then mediums are the circular ones, and then sprouts are the larger ones. Yeah, I did notice that the sprouts were larger than the other ones. Okay. They will copy over. If you're having trouble lining up dissolved digital particles and regular particles at the same time, leave the particle in the path of the stream. You can easily use rotate tiles to okay, rotate tiles gaining more use now. That makes sense. Oh, this is physics. That's a sprout. Sorry, not a sprout, that's a... Yeah, these things will flow down, so they kind of act like conveyors on their own. But always downflowing. Can I keep pushing you right? Like, this will push you over. Can I push you over again? No, I have to diagonally... Alright, so I can't just make you go horizontally. I have to, like, shift you over 1 tile at a time. This is... white and white. And we want to make a red tiny particle. Okay, I think that works. Why don't I do this? Okay, so how many tiles would it take for you to get ideally to where I want? 2, 3, 4, 5. How about 6? Take 6 tiles for you to get here. 5 tiles for you to get here. 5 steps for you to get here is interesting. 1. Okay. So for example, this particle can immediately just sit here. You will come down and you will eventually, you know, make your way through, right? Yes. And then, I don't know, you can flow this way. The problem is that you sort of need to catch this guy from above, right? Which might not work out very well. Firstly, looks like belts have priority over flowing. So if I shift you up by 1, would that solve things? Kind of. Does conveyor plus flow double your movement? I hope not. It does not. Okay, that's good. That's a bit fast, huh? Interesting. Okay, I can slow you down. How slow can you go before red speeds up fast enough to catch you? It works. I can just pull this down, right? With conveyors. There's gonna be a bit of trouble, I think. Due to the fact that white comes here first. I can't have a conveyor here, which means I'm gonna need a jumper to throw you down. I assume jumpers don't work on flowing particles. It does not. Right? Good. And now it will throw. Okay. That works. I think we should be done, right? That works. Okay, cool. Pretty decently low cost as well. Most of it comes from this singular jumper here. Right, people have gone it way faster. How many cycles is this? 14, jeez. 14, huh? That works. Okay, yeah, you can also do it with zero cost. I figured. Can I do it with zero cost? I'm pretty dependent on this light though. Maybe not. Yeah, it's okay. I don't need to optimize. There you go. Let's continue. Okay, memory unit. Anything new? Nothing new, but we got 3 flows. One flow is surprisingly, confusingly higher than the other two. Is there going to be a difference? I don't think so. All streams still look the same. I don't know what the problem with this is. Also, can I put a mirror here? Will this flow this way? Or will it flow the right way? It will, okay. I can't put mirrors on inputs. I feel like I should have known, but it's alright if I don't. And I want to copy the 3 of these guys. Can I cup the water in? What does this do? That does nothing, interestingly enough. I guess maybe how the game handles it is that this, sort of like spillover section isn't actually a solid thing I can interact with. So it's just this line and then this line. That would make sense. So I can't cup the stream, which actually basically implies that any flowing object will flow past the grid if it could. That's pretty interesting. That means I'm like basically on a timer, right? All these are timers. And this one is pretty tight of a timer. I'm not entirely sure if I can affect you fast enough. Can I slow you down by having this sort of thing happen? Yes, because it takes one amount of time for you to move horizontally. Okay, that's actually fairly useful if I need to extend my timer. But I should note that it will all they will all fall off the grid. They'll all fall off the grid given enough time. You can't stop that. Interesting. Okay, so what do I want to do here? Well, we were advised to do a rotation to get the orientation of things correct, right? I suppose it doesn't have to be like the underside is the main problem, right? You can't really go underside very well. I think if jumpers can do this trick, but I don't think so. We know that belts have priority over flowing. So jumpers, which have priority over belts, should also have priority over flowing, right? In that case, the flowing takes longer. Well, if the flowing takes longer, then why don't you just jump to the space above it before the flow pulls it down? That would work. I don't actually need to use a rotator, even though I could. Hold on. This diagonal piece, this piece which is the diagonally adjacent to this, that looks like a problem as well. I find I'm gonna have to attach that to one of these guys. Okay. So 1, 2, 3. It takes 4 steps to touch you. 5 here, 6 here, 7 here, 8 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think you guys will 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, so it gets here in 6 turns. The white gets here in 6 turns. Red gets here in 5. So you get a red here plus a white here. Because belts take priority over flowing, white will flow underneath. I think this works. Yes, it works. Okay, very nice. I got to slow you down, obviously. You're definitely too slow. I'm gonna want to make this L shape and then cup the final piece in. But it shouldn't be a problem. We should be able to just go horizontally now. Okay. So if it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It takes 8 steps for white to reach here. I want it to take equal number of steps for red to reach here. Will that be a problem? 1, 2. Okay. How about this? This looks very odd. I will agree. It works if I add one more conveyor. Actually, it works very well if I add one more conveyor. And I can cup here, right? In theory, I actually don't need to slow you down, I think. Well, I do need to slow you down by 1. Also, can flowing... Whoa. Can dissolved particles attach to other dissolved particles? Actually, how do I time this? This, maybe? No, they cannot attach to each other. That makes sense. They don't have a tangible form to follow yet, so it's just too dissolved. You could even argue that they just have the same form at that time. So, yeah, I mean, makes sense. Sorry, I'm diving a little too deep into this. I need to slow you down by 1. How do I do that? I mean, this slows you down by 1. It also gets you closer by 1, which is a problem. Although not really. Yeah, I can shift you over by 1. Which should look good. To cup you in. So we're missing one particle that kind of float off the grid here, but it's okay. So at this point I can start shifting you down. I'm pretty sure we're done. Right. Unless there's something missing. No, I think this works. There you go. Nice. Okay, fairly low cycle count, fairly low cost. I am pretty happy with this solution. Once again, 0 cycles, jeez. And yeah, there you are. What is in your profile picture, by the way? I can't really tell. It's kind of assume it was a cat because, your name. But I don't think so. I thought I can see wings, don't I? I see wings, right? Like at the top of the screen. That's wings. No idea, but it's okay. I'm not gonna keep looking at your profile picture. Alright, let's keep going. Mulch double plus. Mulch plus plus. I don't remember what the other mulch level was. It was just regular mulch here. I don't remember if Act 3 had mulch plus, but I'm pretty sure it didn't. So I don't know where mulch plus got lost, but I guess it did. This one probably is another one of those sprout levels. This is the only other... Well, it's the only biological or organic puzzle title in this set. Besides Neuron. Yeah, see, Sprout. So we want Sprout to grow twice, which is why we have 2 lights. That makes sense. Then we want to grow... We want to grow you guys... Okay. I see. Let's work on... Is this green? It's green. Green is fine. Green is doable. But this is towards the light though, so horizontally is going to be a problem. Although, I realize if I... So the vertically works well, because if the green is going to grow upwards vertically, it will grow... It will grow away from the light, because light is pointing upwards. But for the light pointing horizontally, this rightward growth will not work, because it will go into the light. However, I notice if I made this vertical, this performs the same function as this, which means this guy can be the one pointing left now. So I can have an upward grower here and a rightward grower here. And those will turn out to grow in normal ways. Yeah. Okay. It's gonna be pretty difficult to. Let's see. I wanna get. I don't wanna be in the path of the water, but I don't suppose it really makes a difference, right? I wanna use regular conveyors here. I do need time to set up the. Actually, that won't be a problem, will that? I need some time to set up the rates to flow properly. In fact, 2 waters for 3 rates is kind of a problem, but I'll deal with it when I get there. This will move it into this position. So what will this do? Oh jeez, yeah, we're shining light through the water now. Yeah, I do realize a problem, which is that in trying to put the sprout here, we'll have issues. Okay, hold on. I have another idea. If you grow up here, I can just put an energizer in your position to grow this way. Right? I can actually grow upwards, actually, that also works. Then I can make this face this way. And I can just, do this. I think this works. This is actually much easier. What? Why doesn't that work? I don't know. I think maybe the movement comes before the growing. But that also doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not missing out any, like, required conditions, right? Okay, maybe I have to... Maybe there's a waiting turn required for whatever reason. Which would be really weird, but I guess that could be. Yeah, that is a waiting turn for some reason. Why is that? I don't know. Also, I realize that this is going to be a problem again. Except if you grew upwards, which is what I want you to do anyway. Unless going upwards is the issue. Is going upwards the issue? Nope, it just is a waiting turn. There you go. Alright, this shape was formed without any additional jumpers or anything. So I have this thing now. This is actually pretty fast, so Red, you're gonna need to speed up here. How? Well, okay, this is gonna take quite long, but I sort of realized that we're making a staircase shape, right? So why don't I sort of like delay these guys by just a little bit? These guys will be delayed by a little bit because of their height. But if I kept driving you rightwards, won't you eventually work out? I actually want you to stop right here. Actually, no, I want you to stop here. So water will come down here. If I pull you right, I'm pretty sure that will work. I'm pretty sure if I pull you right again, which the conveyor will do. So pulling right causes this to immediately attach. Pulling right again. Yes, it works. This is just a bit fast. That will be a problem. But the product is exactly what we want. Which is just very sad that it connects here. It's a bit fast. Okay, what if the product was... this works so well. It's just timing slightly off. This guy's a bit too fast. I need to slow you down a little bit. Okay, I can slow you down a little bit by just moving the sprout this way. That will slow you down a little bit, and because these guys are the limiting factor, I don't need to touch them. They will naturally come later. There you go. That is very nice. Look at that. This might be one of the cooler machines I've built because it works so perfectly. Hmm. That was beautiful. For a very low cost too. I think the lowest cost is a 40? Why does a 50 look like it's lower than a 40? Is it because I'm sort of like focusing on the point here? I'm focusing on the bottom of the triangle, which I guess is wrong. I suppose I should focus on the middle of the triangle, which is in fact higher than this. But still, it kind of makes it look like this triangle is lower, or at least pointing lower than this circle. Lane dough. Sorry, I'm not supposed to just stare at these. I don't know, are these guys like public accounts? Maybe. I don't know. Can I people see my progress? Maybe. Okay, well, whatever it is. Cool solution. I like it a lot. There you go. That was fun. Alright, 4 levels down. Next time, I think we'll move on to the rest of the levels and we'll see where we can go from there. But yeah, until then though, hope you guys enjoyed the video. See you guys next time. Bye bye.